So this is a little video game we made together in 90-something hours. It's called Collapse, and you play it like you should really play it in full screen. I'll fix that. So you're this yellow spaceship, right? And you're driving around, and you can crash into the asteroids. That's not dangerous at all. And what you want to do is you want to drive up to the asteroids. You want to press a button. You go clunk. You attach to the asteroid, and you can hold another button to drill. When you let go, you split the asteroids. Split the asteroid in two. What you want to do is you want to split out the core of the asteroid and then go put it into this wormhole. That will make a funky sound, and you will get points. That's essentially where we are right now. You can also play with more than one player if you press the correct keys here. But it's all cooperative right now, so there's just one score counter, and there's really not much you do together. I mean, you can drive up to an asteroid, both of you. Press some kind of key, and both be attached to the asteroid and pull it together, which is pretty cool. Let's go into this wormhole together. And I'll get eaten by the wormhole. So one thing that's like a slight flaw in this that I've discovered, because I made all the scoring and all that stuff. I did super last minute, like within the last hour or so. So that's a little bit funky right now. If there's something I'm gonna be redoing, it's probably this score counter that's under my face right now. This guy up here. Because I figured it'd be cool if it was 3 letters all the time. But what happens is when you start the game, you have 0, obviously. Then you harvest an asteroid. Like this one. Drive it into the hole. It goes swarp. We get 418 points. That's cool. Then, if you do it a couple more times, like 418 is probably like, it's an okay score. It's a pretty good score. Again. 962, everything's fine. But once we go past 1,000, it just stays at 1,000 for a long time. Which is, I mean, I could have figured that out if I had spent like 5 minutes thinking about it. I didn't. So like, now it went to 2K. I'm not even sure how it went to 2K. I think it's maybe rounding off too. So this is, either way, this is stupid. This doesn't work. Is it buffering a lot? Damn it. Oh, it's because I'm streaming at 60 frames per second. Whoops. That might be the cause. Is it very smooth and fancy? I'm gonna restart the stream for 2 seconds, so set it back to 30, because this is probably murdering people's computers for no reason at all. More reasonable frame rate. Sorry about that. Again, all super duper last minute. Because this was not gonna happen only a few minutes ago. So this is definitely one thing we're gonna deal with. I think I'm gonna bring up my little to-do thing here. I think I did most of this stuff. That one's not done. I'm just gonna remove all the stuff that I have done. That's done. Done. So, fix score meter. Consider versus mode as well. So that's also something I wanted to put into the game, because right now it's co-op and it's sort of I don't even know. Like it's co-op. Like it's pretty run-of-the-mill co-op. But there's like the problem that I see with the co-op is that there's not really. You could, if you're 2 players, I guess you could split it up and be like one person's responsible for moving stuff, and another person is responsible for making sure the asteroids are like split up and ready to be moved. But I'm thinking that versus, that's the end of the round, making that sound. I'm thinking the versus mode could be interesting because it would be, I'm thinking whoever touches the asteroid last will get it. So you could be like stealing the asteroids as they're like entering the wormhole. Consider versus mode. But the thing is, that's also why I want to fix the score meter, because right now there's 1 score meter. If you want to have multiplayer, and with the way I've made done the multiplayers, you can be any number of players. So I need to figure out a clever way of displaying score for anywhere between 1 and say 4 players. I mean, the game right now supports, I think, 8 Xbox controllers. I'm not even sure you can plug that many into a computer. I think you can. I don't think there's actually a limit, but I don't know. Either way, I just added support for 8 different USB controllers, which should be fine, and 2 players on the keyboard. So maxing out the game, you'd get 10 players. I mean, and if you do 10 players, it's fine if it looks a little bit cramped, because you're sort of pushing the envelope, as it were, already. But if we start with the GUI, so if I remember correctly, I have some sketches that I did for the user interface that I did in Photoshop, not in Illustrator. GUI sketch. Come on, Photoshop. So, like this is also how the game looked before, like the final 3 hours of the game. So I'm thinking it would be pretty rad if we could attach these to the players instead. So like having this like fly with you somehow. Obviously be way smaller, but not that much smaller. And then just have it appear as it's needed, and maybe have like a score ranking on the side instead for who's in the lead. And that means we can also do one of these for the asteroids, which would be cool. So that every time you cut it, it will display how much, how pure they are. I'm thinking maybe it should be purity now that we're saving space. And then we can do a second one for like value or something. Because that's the interesting part. It doesn't really matter how pure it is, it's more about size. I'm thinking we could keep the values within like the thousandths in the range. That could be interesting. Maybe purity isn't even all that interesting. Because right now this is taking up a lot of space. Like imagine this for like 4 or 5 asteroids. It's going to be a giant mess. That's not good. So I'm thinking maybe purity can be something different than a number. It's pretty stupid to do this in Photoshop because I'm going to have to redo it in Illustrator later anyway. But here we are. It's also a little bit weird switching from like the game yam get shit done type of philosophy to a more like let's make this properly type of deal. That tends to take a little while, at least for me it does. So maybe, can you say that again, Rector? Like I was refreshing the chat, so I didn't see what you said. It's like, this would be cool. I mean, I could have, suppose I could have like a, I can't work this program, but I'm worried, like this would be a cool display, like that. But what does this show that the asteroid itself doesn't show? I'm not so sure. Maybe, because right now the game considers the asteroids of 3 purity levels. Like it plays a slightly different sound when you turn them in, depending on if they're either excellent or like great, which is like the high rating, and then there's like a normal rating, and then there's a bad rating. So the bad rating is for purely or very, like essentially if you put like a completely pink asteroid in there, or you put your own ship in there, that's when you get like the low purity rating. So maybe this is just all redundant, because you can tell. Maybe it's better if it's like value, and then if it's like an excellent asteroid, it will get a little star or something. So I'm thinking this is what we really care about, is how much they're worth. Is that not the same? It's not the same color. That's interesting. This looks pretty cool. It's like you're surveying the asteroid. Like this would pop up when you're landing on it. It would be like, which I think might be cool. And if it's like an extra pure asteroid, it will have like a little star. Which is like this cool understatement thing. Maybe actually like a geometric proper star. This is something I never want to use, but now I do. Star. Look at that, it's awesome. I suppose it should be green though. Green. That's too big. Reminds you of Eve? That's interesting. Eve is such a weird game. I want to like Eve, but I don't. This is more of like a space type symbol. Again, I'm gonna have to redo it, but maybe just a, who am I kidding? I want a hexagon, that's what I want. Hexagons are awesome. Oops, one hexagon will be enough though. Just look at that, that's our guy right there. Maybe instead of the star, give the core itself glow effect. I don't know, because when they're like, if I cut out an asteroid, I'm gonna run the game real quick. So if I go and cut out, if I just immediately drive into the thing, so like if I cut out an asteroid, it's going to be mostly green, right? If I do it properly, it's going to be like this. So having the green glow here could be weird. Plus glow is kind of this half transparent type of thing. This game doesn't really deal with transparency, except for these asteroids that are blinking, because they're about to go away. And that's really just me cheating. Yeah, I think this value display is a good idea. Hello, a kill tool. Welcome to the stream. Are these kind of the same size? It's 24. What's this? 18. Is that really? Yeah, suppose it is. Let's try doing that. I'm also unsure how much stuff there's just lying around in this. Suppose we can commit that. We can commit this. We can commit that. What? Hey, a kill tool subscribed. You can just ignore this thing, turn it off. This game is about slicing asteroids in space. as many games are. It's a pretty typical video game fare, to be honest. So, GUI. This is gonna require some thought, because like architecturally wise, because like the GUI is this separate little area of the code right now, completely unrelated to the asteroids. It doesn't have any concept of where or what the asteroids are, which is a good thing. But that's about to change. But I'm thinking, because like we could just put the text in the asteroid, but the asteroids are like in an order. They're drawn in a certain order. So that's not really going to help, because like if this asteroid has some text, then I maybe put it like up here, and then shove it into another asteroid. That text would just go under, and that's not good. That's not something we want. We want the text to be on top, or at the very least, we want to be in control of it. So maybe, because the player really is just going to be attached to one asteroid at a time, so maybe we could do it by not by the player, but we could let the user interface know that, hey, the player who's like here and here has attached to an asteroid that's here and here, and then the user interface can deal with that. I'm thinking that might be a smarter way of setting it up. So for the player, or it's not even really the player, it's this class called the attacher that does all the deals with all the attaching and detaching from stuff. And I'm actually not entirely sure, because the detaching can be triggered from multiple points. It seems that it's only the player that is actually doing things. What happens if we do this? Right, so it's the player and when you're splitting an asteroid and someone's attached to it, those are the two cases when the attacher that's doing that stuff is touched from the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the attacher private to the player. I'm going to do something like that instead. So the player knows. Instead, the player is like informed. You have been, like the asteroid you were attached to is going away. Go away. And that will remove the attached player as well from this particular asteroid, which I'm unsure if that's even necessary, but we'll do it this way anyway. Attacher deactivate. Because I'm thinking, right, yes. So this call right here is not even needed anymore. Yeah, I didn't see your messages either. Lapu, Samuel M, LP Samuel M. So this should work exactly the same that it did before, except now anything that will detach the player from the asteroid is, we know if that's going to happen, or the player knows if it's attached or not. So that works. Attaching, and if I split it, it goes boom, and I'm detached. That's also cool. If I add an extra player attached to the same asteroid, then split it, that second player is also detached. All good. So now we will make a little event, which is this old like Flash concept. This needs to keep track of a player. It has an optional asteroid. This will be accessible from the outside, but you can't set it. So essentially read only. And here we can go collection, I think. I don't have that set up. I don't. That's interesting. Boop, 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 boop. So now I'm going to make it so that every time an actor is added to a collection, are also this is not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. That's annoying. Asteroid collection is a sprite collection that is a I'm thinking this might work. It's like any type of collection. Maybe like that. I'm in deep with this sprite collection. T has no field collection. Oh. If this works, we're all good. Item does not have a field called collection. We can fix that. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, let's not do it that way then. Let's it's like templates and stuff, which I'm using for this is nice, but it can also get a little bit confusing or annoying when it's not working, because it gives me type safety, and that's good, but it also prevents me from doing stupid stuff like I wanted to do now. But we can make this work. So we do override. Not on that class. On this class, we go override, add, and when something is added, we go item, collection, this. And then we can know that it's always a player, which is nice. Hopefully this will compile. It's the wrong type of collection. This might work with some creative templating. Maybe. No. Fair enough. Let's move this to player. Get on with this. That's all good. So now I can get back to the thing I really want to do. So I can define here an event. And since this is not really used in this project, I can also go probably get rid of these. I don't think these are used ever anywhere. Nope. Just get rid of these for now. Type safety versus not type safety in programming languages is a little bit like tabs versus spaces. Although I arguably a lot less stupid, but there's this like basic philosophy difference. Like neither is necessarily better, they're just different, and you can argue for each of them. It's a little bit like OS X versus Windows. It's like, yes, those are things, they are different. So, player collection. Here we go. The player collection will now have something called a dispatcher. That will be a simple dispatcher that will dispatch player events. This is cool because now I can go into the player, and because this has a reference to this collection that it's in, which is the player collection, whenever it attaches or detaches to an asteroid, like here, I can go collection, dispatcher, dispatch event, new, player event, and then we need to come up with a name for that, maybe detach, and then ourselves. We pass like a reference to ourselves along with the event. Let's gonna go define this like you probably have done, like so, and we'll name it player event detach to prevent any confusion. One problem is going to be that I realize now is that I'm not going to know which asteroid I detached from, but we'll have to deal with that. The argument about type safety is going on in the chat. And my preference is that I like type safety because most of the time I'm stupid and make mistakes. Type safety helps me with that. I also like being able to turn off type safety so I can do stupid things when I know I need to, or when I want to, or for any good reason, which ideally, or really for me, is like the best of both worlds. I get the compilers looking over my shoulder, making sure I'm not doing anything incredibly stupid, and I can tell it to shut up, I know what I'm doing, and just do my own thing, which is good. So now in the user interface, we will need a reference to the players. And then, much like the thing we did with the score here, we do players, add event listener. And the event is going to be player event. It's going to be detach. I'm not even sure is that even going to be the thing doing that? I don't think it is. Maybe we should put that in the purity counter. We should make a new class. Something like asteroid information. And we'll have that deal with all that stuff. that's a better idea. How did I learn Haxi? Well, what I did is that I learned Flash a whole bunch of years ago, and Haxi is very similar. So it took me maybe 2 weeks to pick it up, like properly pick it up. I was up and running within like an hour after I got everything installed because it's very similar. So now we'll do an asteroid display, asteroid information, that's what I called it. Put that here. That needs the player's reference. I suppose the purity counter is just, that's not going to be around anymore. So we'll just get rid of that. Like so. And then we'll go headshot, asteroid information. Andy James Adams, hello there. So in asteroid information, we can know when a player detaches. Now we got to hook up so we know that a player attaches to an asteroid. But before we do that, we can just confirm that this works. We can go player detached. Now that I think of it, it might be useful to do in the attacher. All right, it's attached to a physics body. So maybe that's not super good. Well, we'll just try this first. Oops. Oh, player's dispatcher, adamant listener. Missing super constructor call. That's easily fixed. Not enough arguments, I can see that. So nothing happens. Nothing happens. That's annoying. So just to make sure that we are indeed doing this correctly, handle button up, handle button down. Oh, right, there's an attacher toggle too. So I'm regretting. Because this is where it happens, like deactivate and activate on, and this already has a reference to the player, so there's really no need for all this crap I did here before. So what I'll do is I'll do this, and it's player collection dispatcher, essentially same thing as before, just moved it to a different place. And then we can have I suppose this could be an actor instead. Maybe that's more generic. I should have used the rename thing. Oh well. And we can go asteroid is null, someone's subscribing, Andy James Adams. Hello and welcome. Has no field asteroid. Damn it. Player and target. Here we go. See if this works. I doubt it, but we'll see. Nothing. Hey, player detached. That's cool. Drill to drill. Also player detached. One drawback of doing the game, making the game multiplayer, is that the testing gets so much more annoying immediately. That was to detach. That also makes sense. Works. This also means that doing the attach is going to be fairly easy, because it's going to be like the exact same thing. Like here. Find and attach. This is probably the one. No, activate. Blah, 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 blah. So this does the little sweep thing. We might as well put it in here. So the cores, someone's asking in the chat, they do behave slightly differently from the asteroids. I can elaborate on that. Just want to get this working first. Oh right, I need to actually make the event too. Asteroid information, player event attach, handle player attach. Player event, this too. If I'm serious about making it multiplayer, I probably need to figure out like a way of differentiating the players, because they all look exactly the same right now. Player attached. Can you see that? Yeah. So it's like down here. It says player attached. That's good. Player detached. Add a second player. Drive over here. Attached, attached. And now there should be two detached. Works. So that's all good. Wow, lots of changes here. Okay, that one's completely useless. That one's okay, I suppose. As is that one, that one. These player also, oops, player collection also. Players emit events when attaching, detaching from asteroids. This is Haxi, yes. So looking at the splitting of the asteroids. The issue at hand was that they behave slightly differently. So if I drill through here, if it was a polygon, it'd just be like a flat slice along here. You can see that it's not, like it leaves a little corner here. So the way it works is that I had some, because these uses they use the physics engine for doing the cutting. But since these, like the cores, aren't objects in the physics engine at all, they are a hassle to deal with, because like the physics engine gives me the intersection point. Like I give it a polygon and I give it a ray, and that will tell me where it's intersecting this polygon. If I want to do that with some other polygon, I need to add that into the physics world, and I'm not really interested in doing that for these green ones. I could do it, but the way I decided to do it instead was, first I was experimenting with having, like, I found this library that would do like Boolean operations on polygons. So I would just take the regular asteroid, like this pink shape split in two, like for this. So I would take the original green core and I would try and figure out what the intersection with the new half of the asteroid was. I'm trying to work it out that way, because I didn't want to do all the math on my own, because I had like 2 hours to do this. I had no time. So the way I ended up doing it instead is actually that every other cores, because this was like the simplest way I could figure out to do it, is that all the cores are actually a bunch of particles. And if we are lucky, I might have, yeah, here. I kept it because I knew this day might come. Did I also keep the code for actual rendering? It seems I did. So this is the way it works, really, which this makes them look super much like fruit. It spawns a bunch of particles. It's like in a fancy little pattern that makes them fill up the space really well, and it will then figuring out which polygon a single point falls in is fairly straightforward. And then I found a little code snippet that will give me the convex hull of a series of points, because like I didn't really have time to write my own code for any of this, so I had to like make do what I could find on the internet in a hurry, and I found some code for a convex hull. And the convex hull is a fairly interesting concept. See if I can find a picture for you guys. It's this thing that it sounds really fancy, and it kind of is, but it's also like once someone explains it to you, it's a fairly simple affair. So a convex hull is that if you have a polygon, or really like a set of points like this picture, if you have a set of points, the convex hull is the minimum. I'm not even sure if it's necessarily the minimum, but it is it's probably the minimum. A polygon that encloses all of the points. So essentially, like it's like you took, say, you hammer a bunch of nails into a board, and you take a string and tie it around like the outer perimeter of this series of nails. that is the exact same thing you will get. That's the convex hull of those. If every nail is a point, that's what you're going to get. So I just create all these points, and then I run the algorithm to find the convex hull for these points, and that gives me a polygon. Meaning that sometimes you get, like, say you have an asteroid like that. Nope, still not good. The first asteroid you draw is never good. And you have the core, which is like that, maybe. Oops. Like that. That means we can use red points. That at the very least, there's like a point here, and you just have to imagine that this line right here is straight. That's a straight line. So at the very least, there's a point here, point here, point here, and a point here. That's like the minimum set of points. Then there can be any number of points inside of here. So let's say we make this fairly sparse. So the points are maybe like that. Now if I cut this with my freeform selection tool, like say I come along with my laser here and do a slice like that along the length of the asteroid, now it will recalculate the hull. We can use a different color for that. Let's use light blue. So now it will be this shape here. And over here it will be this shape, meaning that it like shrinks in a little bit when you cut it. This is really just a side effect of the way it happens to be implemented, which is, and it's absolutely not like a perfect implementation. It's just like I was maybe a tiny little bit desperate when I was doing this. It's like this is a thing that I could get working really quickly, so I just stuck with it. And I guess you can sort of rationalize it, like game logic wise. If you cut really close to the core, you'll damage it. So here you can see that it's gonna, like the rightmost part or the lower part here is probably not gonna have any core at all in it once I cut. So now you can see this only has 1 point, which means there's just nothing there, which is also fine. Like you just cut off the edge. Maybe it's like volatile. Maybe it gets destroyed or something. Same thing here. It also makes it so that if I cut too close, like it will punish me by like removing a little bit. So I mean, it's wrong. It's not the correct slicing, but I'm fine with that. This does its job perfectly, and it's a video game. It doesn't need to be correct. One thing that I probably want to fix is you can see the density in these guys are pretty different. Because for some reason it's actually not actually using more points for the bigger ones, it's just making them less dense. Which isn't really a huge problem, but anyway, that was the reasoning behind that. And now I am actually, because this stream is a giant mess, I actually have to stop streaming pretty soon. Do the single invisible particles give any points? No, it is calculated by the area of the polygon. So the player has no idea, and they really don't need to know. Which is the best way of doing things. Like the less the player has to like know about how it really works, the better. Also calculating on the points would be really unfair because the density is so different. And then I need to correct for that, and then I might as well just do it properly. Because as long as it's the good thing for me is that all the polygons I have are convex. Meaning, again, I explained before, like a convex hull is that if you put a string around it, the string will be tight around the entire polygon. So like a shape like this, is a convex shape. A concave shape would be, let's see if we do the exact same shape. And instead, yeah, I can do that. So instead of having it straight here, we do a little kink here in the corner. This means that if I put a string around this, the string would be tight across here. Meaning that is, as far as we're concerned, it is a concave shape. Cossacks TV, welcome. But the good thing for me is that all the shapes I use in this are convex, meaning that it's really easy to calculate the area of them. So you just pick a random vertex, like say, pick this one, and then you calculate you calculate the area of this triangle between these points. Then you pick a triangle two indices ahead. I think this will make sense. I think this is the way you do it. I don't really keep this algorithm in my head all that much. Nerdyful, also welcome. Then you pick a triangle two indices ahead. So like you skip, or one index ahead, you skip this one because you've already done that one, and you go to this one, and you look again, 1, 2 ahead. That gives you the area of this one. I think this will make sense. Well, either way, you get the point. And I think you go around like twice, and that will give you double the area of the polygon. There's some trick to it, but I can't remember. Either it's fairly straightforward. I can show you the algorithm for it. Here. This function calculates the area of a convex polygon. So it's not all that bad. It's just you calculate the something of the something. But all this is also like, these are all functions I could manage to like scrounge up on the internet and add to my project. And since it's not a really maybe the best the best way of doing work, but if it's a game jam and you're in a hurry, anything is allowed. So I think what we're going to do right before I have to end this stream, which is really soon, and I'm super sorry about that, is that we're going to try and add some visuals, like the, let's say we can use the purity counter for now. So when the player attaches to something, we can go var asteroid. That will be the target. And this can be, let's say, an array maybe of asteroid. Might have to make it a list, we'll see. So asteroids push asteroid. And here we go asteroids remove. Exactly the same thing in reverse. And when we do this, we're going to have to do, we're going to need a way to like attach a certain visual element to a certain asteroid. So we go maybe label map, and that's going to be a map. That's going to be indexed on asteroid, and that is going to give us We can do the purity counter for now. So a map works like this. We create a new purity counter. Add child of that counter, and then the map we set using, it's like a dictionary, so you use the asteroid to look into this list, and it will give you back something that you've stored on that asteroid. So I use the asteroid and I set the counter as the value, meaning that down here I can do the inverse, get this, and I can go remove child counter, and I can go label map remove, like that. This should, in theory, make stuff happen. Quite likely a crash, but we'll see. Would you look at that? That's pretty cool. One problem might be that it will do duplicates now when two players are adding things. Another thing that I noticed is this asteroid will actually lose its outline, which is alarming, meaning that that asteroid probably still thinks I am attached to it. Things are breaking right and left. So let's do one final thing. In the game, this is not the correct file. Here's the correct file. So game, reset, handle enter frame, blah, 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 blah. Here, we go GUI, update. And then we go asteroid information, update. And here we go for asteroid, in asteroids. And then we're gonna try and position this in the same position as the asteroid. See what this does. Hey! That's pretty cool. I like that a lot more already. That's way cooler. Oh no! I got eaten. So now, unfortunately, it is 5:30 here, and I have a thing I need to be at 6, and I need to eat before that, so I am in a hurry now. But I do want to thank you all for tuning in for this super weird stream where nothing was prepared and everything was terrible. But I did have internet in the end, so there was a stream after all. I will be back in a week, or maybe sooner, I don't think so, but at the very worst case scenario, I'll be back in a week, and I promise next week's stream will be much better prepared. We'll do cooler stuff. And all of that. There's a link to my YouTube channel down below this stream right now, where you can look at the videos from the game jam, and this video will probably also be there eventually once all the game jam videos are uploaded. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next week.